All right, welcome back to day 15 of our React course. We are hitting a massive milestone today, Project 3 setup. That's right, we are finally making the leap from front-end design to true full-stack application development. If you've been following along, you've absolutely nailed creating beautiful, interactive user interfaces. But today, we're moving beyond the browser. We're going to learn how to make our data persist, how to build a real backend server, and how to connect the whole shebang into our brand new project called iNotebook. So grab your favorite beverage, get focused, and let's get ready to build a complete digital ecosystem straight from the ground up. Here's the roadmap for today's explainer. First up, we'll enter the MERN Stack. Then we'll build the iNotebook backend, set up our routes and auth, cross back over to the React frontend, and finally, take a quick look at managing state with Redux. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. Enter the MERN Stack. We're bridging that gap from front-end to full-stack.
You can think of the MERN Stack kind of like building a house. It brings together these distinct, incredibly powerful technologies that, beautifully enough, all speak the exact same language, JavaScript. Honestly, it's a massive game changer. From the database all the way to the browser, you really only need to know JavaScript. MongoDB acts as our database, Express and Node handle our server environment, and React, which we obviously already know and love, takes care of the user interface.
To break down this house analogy a bit further, MongoDB is our solid foundation, where all our raw materials, our data, are stored safely underground. Then you have Node and Express acting as the plumbing and wiring hidden right inside the walls, seamlessly routing the water and electricity, or, well, the requests and data, exactly where they need to go. And finally, React is that beautiful interior design. It's the visible, interactive facade that our users actually experience and enjoy on a daily basis.
Moving on to Section 2, building the iNotebook backend. We're laying down that invisible foundation.
So to get this backend architecture up and running, we basically follow 3 vital steps. First, we spin up our Express server so we've got a live environment just waiting and listening for requests. Next, we connect to our MongoDB database. But we don't just connect directly. We use a really elegant tool called Mongoose to bridge that gap. And then finally, we establish our schemas.
Now, you might be wondering, why do we even need schemas? Well, MongoDB is famously flexible. It'll pretty much let you store anything. But for a highly structured app like iNotebook, too much flexibility can literally lead to chaos. So by defining specific Mongoose schemas, we're establishing strict, unbreakable rules for exactly how our notes and our users are going to be stored in that foundation. We dictate, hey, a user absolutely must have an email, and a note has to have a title and a description. It's absolutely crucial for keeping our data clean, predictable, and most importantly, safe.
All right, Section 3. Routes, validation, and auth. This is all about security and traffic control.
Here, our Express server is acting basically like a traffic controller. It handles the endpoints for our notes while executing specialized middleware, like JWT. We'll be building out REST API endpoints, which are just the standard doorways for our front end to ask the backend to fetch, add, update, or delete a note. But to make absolutely sure someone only deletes their own notes, we bring in JSON Web Tokens, or JWT. Think of this middleware like a digital bouncer. It decodes the user's identity on every single request. And finally, we utilize a handy package called Express Validator to rigorously check all that incoming data.
So what does this all mean, and why does it matter? Well, it's to ensure bad data doesn't completely break our database and to keep malicious traffic out of our app. If a user tries to create a note with an empty title, Express Validator catches it right at the door and throws an error before it ever touches our pristine MongoDB foundation. Meanwhile, JWT ensures that even if someone manages to find the exact route to delete a note, there's literally no way they can actually do it unless they're holding the correct cryptographically signed token that proves they actually own it.
Moving right along to Section 4, React front-end and context. Time to build the visible structure.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we're approaching the code. For iNotebook, we are totally refactoring away from legacy class-based components. Unlike our previous project NewsMonkey, where we leaned really heavily on those class components, the React ecosystem has evolved quite a bit. So for this project, we are exclusively using modern functional-based components powered by React hooks. And trust me, this results in code that is so much cleaner, way more concise, and highly readable.
Using these functional components, we get to rapidly fire off the visible interior design features of our UI. We're going to build a responsive nav bar that knows exactly which page you're on, thanks to the use location hook. We'll wire up intuitive forms to add new notes and snappy click events to delete them. Plus, we'll build secure login and sign-up screens equipped with pop-up alerts to guide the user along.
Oh, and we'll even design a sleek modal window that just pops right over the screen so users can edit their existing notes in real time. It's going to look fantastic.
But with all these moving parts, we actually run into a pretty major architectural problem. How on earth do we share data efficiently across the app without creating a massive, chaotic mess? Imagine trying to pass a user's notes from the main app down to a layout component, then down to a grid component, and then finally all the way down to a single note item. Honestly, it's exhausting just thinking about it. That process is called prop drilling. And as your app grows, it becomes an absolute nightmare to maintain.
Thankfully, there's a brilliantly simple solution, the React Context API. Think of context kind of like setting up a centralized broadcasting tower right in the middle of your application. Instead of awkwardly passing data down hand by hand for the entire component tree, you just put your data straight into the context tower. Then any component, no matter how deeply buried it is in the house, can just tune in and grab exactly what it needs.
To actually make this happen in our code, we follow a few clear steps. We create our note context, we wrap our application inside it, and then inside any component, like our note item, we simply invoke the useContext hook. Just like that, we instantly have access to the user's notes, the function to delete them, and the function to update them, all seamlessly linked straight to the Express backend we built earlier.
Okay, let's head into our final section. Section 5, Managing State with Redux. We're talking about scaling up our state management. Now, while the Context API is absolutely perfect for a project like iNotebook, introducing Redux really sets you up for the big leagues. As your applications grow into massive, enterprise-level platforms managed by huge teams, you're going to need something with even stricter rules and incredibly powerful debugging capabilities. Redux basically takes this idea of global state and adds a rigid, highly predictable structure to it. It forces you to dispatch very specific actions to update your state, which makes it remarkably easy to track down bugs and manage complex data flows. It is the industry standard for a very good reason, and setting up a React app for Redux is definitely the logical next step in your full-stack journey.
And there you have it. You've successfully bridged the gap to full-stack development. You now have the power to spin up a server, design a totally secure database, protect it with authentication, and hook it all up to a beautiful, modern React front end using global state. The entire MERN stack is literally right at your fingertips as we wrap up day 15. The only limitation now is your own imagination. So now that you understand both the invisible foundation and the visible facade, what kind of full-stack digital house are you going to build next? Keep coding, keep experimenting, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.